Ready?
Go.
Ready, go. Grab your friends and gather around. Hear the stories when you're down. With songs and smiles for miles. If you're looking for a place to go, I know one hell of a show. There's a place that'll make you glad. Opposite of being sad. DICK&Dank.com. DICK&Dank.com.
Welcome back to Dope Discussions with Dick and Dank. Dick and I are here in the Kentucky Oasis.
What's up?
Big Dick, all capitals, Big Dick. I make sure and put that everywhere I can, Big Dick. And we're still trying to determine if... Oh, wait, no, we did determine. When your wife's not around, you're packing.
No,
Now you're not even going to say that.
Nope.
That's because we got guests here.
that's true. No, I'm just not one of those guys.
We got guests here in the Kentucky Oasis. I don't blame you because I'm not either. But we're living it up in the Kentucky Oasis. We just recorded an episode with Renee from the Starflower Clinic, and she's the scheduler.
She kind of does everything there.
Does everything. We won't say everything. The doctor is necessary.
Everything but that.
Oh, well, everything but that. But we did forget to mention that you can have a good time with Renee on YouTube and Road Trip with Renee right there on YouTube. So I did want to make sure we got that plug out there. So you had to wait a week to find that out. But Road Trip with Renee on YouTube, and don't miss out. Now I got somebody I can follow on YouTube because
We're going to talk about it. She's going to have to come back, and we're going to do this again, and then we'll talk about that. And
I like it. Well, we're still here. We'll see how much time they got.
we'll compare stories, see where we road trip.
Right, Road Trip with Renee. So be sure and follow on YouTube. But today we're focused on Dr. Mark Woods from the Starflower Clinic in Fulton, Illinois, 1008 4th Street, Fulton, Illinois. If you need to call them, you can call them at 815-208-7703. Press pause and rewind if you need me to repeat it, I suppose, but that seems silly. What do you need?
I was going to say that you can get your medical card through us. You can call us, and we can either see you in person or you can come to Fulton, Illinois, and meet Dr. Woods face to face.
Perfect.
Add that. Or if you want me to say it.
That's already in there now,
just did.
like you did it.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that. So Road Trip with Renee, and then get your medical card the easiest way possible at the Starflower Clinic. Now, we have the man in charge there, the one that actually has to write his fancy little signature on that card saying, you know what, you have a medical reason for cannabis, which, you know, we've come to find out that it's fairly easy to get because there's so many reasons that cannabis can help you. And that's where you get involved. So we're here to educate about cannabis. We've talked
Well,
about...
I mean, it's simple, not easy.
Huh?
When you say it's easy to get, like, I just don't want it to sound like...
That's if everything goes right. though.
Right.
Well, that's
You
true.
know,
That's
It's a simple
true.
process.
It's a simple
Starflower
process.
makes it easy by going there.
Right.
That's
right.
what I'm trying to say.
I got you.
All right. Dr. Woods. Dr. Mark. Now, what do you prefer? Dr. Woods? You prefer Mark? What do you want to go with?
Well, Mark, I think.
Mark? All right.
Yeah.
Mark, well, thank you very much for joining our show in the Kentucky Oasis. I know it's not a whole lot to look at, but I do like to have a good time. I
When
try
we get
and
those
clean it up
sponsors,
as
it'll
best
be
I can.
fancy.
Right.
Right.
We're working on someday, hopefully. I don't know. Have I heard
We'll
the
have
latest
our
in the
own
studio?
Renee.
Oh.
We'll have our own
We have a
assistant.
dunk. A distant assistant.
Yeah, but she's distant. She's not here every day.
This is true. This is true. But anyway, Mark. Now, Starflower Clinic. So anything, let's start off there, the clinic. So what brought you to the clinic? Now, the previous doctor had retired, and I know you're nearing retirement, but still working at Starflower.
Dr. Plaw and I were partners through Mercy One and Clinton.
Oh, okay.
And so I knew him before, and he was going to be moving to Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
And he just asked if I was interested, and then I spent a few days there just seeing how the clinic worked. And it was something I was interested in, and so I just took over when he moved.
Right
So
on.
there was no lapse in the clinic.
Somebody working
itself.
there, yeah. So it's been open. Now, I understand the fancy edible place next door closed down. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a shame.
Yeah.
That was nice. That place
Which
was
I
good.
guess would be illegal here in a year anyway.
Right.
New hemp laws. But so I'm glad you didn't let the clinic close down. It did change doctors, obviously, from the first time I got the card to when I just came in and got a renewal and then asked if you'd like to be on a show, which again, this is what brings us here today, is to educate us about weed. Now, now we know if people listen to our show why Dick and I smoke weed. What attracted you as now you have a medical degree? Describe your background, I guess. One in the medical field and then cannabis itself.
Well, I was born in Southwest Iowa and went to school at the University of Iowa, got my medical degree there. So I'm a Hawkeye.
Go
Okay.
Hawks.
And
Go Hawks.
go
Makes
Hawks.
this guy happy, yeah. My sister went there.
Oh,
so.
that dunk. Yeah.
My second favorite team is Illinois, though. So,
Can't be 100%
We live here.
perfect.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. And I have used cannabis since I was 16 years of age. So I had an interest in cannabis, and being a physician trying to help people, I thought that why not help people with cannabis, because I saw how well it helped myself and other people that I was with. And so I thought it was a good opportunity.
Makes sense to me.
For me and everybody.
Makes sense to me, and it sounds like a doctor that doesn't have big pharma in their pocket.
So when you were in medical school, did they talk about cannabis at all?
No,
Okay.
not really. They didn't talk about a lot of things in medical school.
Fair.
That's probably a lot to talk about, but
Yeah, there is.
that's why there's so many different specific, doctors and pursuits and professions and areas of medicine and whatever. It's infinite practically, but the
Complicated.
discovery, complicated, and then again, each person's different. So attracted you to cannabis. You've got the Star Flower Clinic there. Now we talked to Renee last episode on how easy it is to make appointments and get your medical card. Now, I don't know. Where do you start with a good doctor here? Do you want to start what most common reason people come in and seek a medical card?
Yeah.
Yeah, the most common one I think is chronic pain,
Okay.
Yeah.
because everybody has pain.
Yep.
Fortunately for most of us or a lot of us, it's just temporary. You sprain your back or you hurt your knee.
Do you get a lot of people for a temporary relief for that? It's like, I sprained my back. I need some, I want some weed because I don't want to, medicate with pills. Or is it more people that
They're
are like us?
all with chronic pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody comes in for the acute deal because they can go to the recreational and
Right.
get through
One time.
with
All right.
that.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yep.
So, so you see a lot of chronic pain. Now, I'm not going to generalize and say it's age specific, but I'd imagine that a lot of your clientele is older. Most of these people smoked weed before, or is this new to them?
Most people, I think, that come in, a lot of them are middle-aged or older with the chronic pain, arthritis, back, surgeries.
And then success rate. How many say, hey, guys, this ain't working? Well, what else you got?
I often hear some amazing stories about how much it has changed people's life. Not everybody, of course, because I don't think cannabis cures anything particularly, but it sure
Right.
helps a lot of things.
Absolutely.
I'd agree
A whole
with that.
spectrum of things.
I would agree with that.
Well, this is where I was hoping that we become sort of unofficial partners as far as we can help advertise the cannabis industry. I can direct people your way because you're going to help heal them. And so working together, how do we make that happen effectively and get this message out? So I'm going to leave you some stickers. That's about all we got for leave behinds is our stickers. So I think, or did I might have left them last time. I can't remember. But I'll leave some stickers with you guys. We're running low, by the way. That's one of your jobs.
I'll order.
Sticker guy. But before our live stream, for sure. But we'll leave you some stickers if you want to advertise, and that way they can learn about cannabis because we're not out to harm anybody. We're just fucking around to find it out. Kind of like you discovered cannabis. You've seen what it's done for you for your life as far as even pain relief. So that's the common thing people are coming in for. Now I know you're not obviously open Monday through Friday, but how's the community been as far as receptive to you and your presence downtown? Any issues? Do you know?
No, I think we're well accepted.
Well, that's
there.
good. That's good.
I
Yeah.
haven't never heard a bad word.
Yeah.
at
Nice,
all.
quiet Dutch community.
I had a elderly lady in my Morrison office one time who asked if I was involved with the Starflower Clinic, and I was thinking, uh-oh, she's going to be on me for using cannabis.
Yeah. Right.
And I said, yes, it is. And she says, can I still be your patient? And that was a nice thing to hear from.
She was worried you were leaving.
Yeah, that she could no longer see me.
And
so.
I think we're
She can still see you though. She
Well,
can come to the Starfire Clinic now to
yes,
see you.
yes, except she's passed.
Oh, well, rest in peace.
But my track record in the long run is like 100% fatalities. Really, it's just a matter of
we
time.
all die someday, right? Just wait.
We talk about preventative medicine, but we don't prevent a thing.
right?
We delay it.
We all die, right?
It's delayative medicine, is what I call it.
And we're looking at some of those old stoners. You see Willie Nelson, Cheech and Chong. They're getting up there and clearly
Oh,
smoke
my
weed
gosh.
chronic. Snoop Dogg's gonna live forever, I think.
God, I hope so.
Right?
So-
And he's everywhere.
So what do you? How?
Are you confused?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I don't know. You kept talking and I forgot what I was going to say.
It's kind of the job.
So how do you feel about? What are your thoughts on cannabis and the risks?
Well, but before I go into that, I'd like to just kind of my philosophy of cannabis for medical purposes.
Yep.
I trained as a physician, classic, traditional, right by the book,
Yep.
kind of.
Yep.
And so that's my foundation. And so I try to apply the rules of medicine to medical cannabis, and try to help people with getting started and how to use it regularly, safely.
Okay.
Because too much, too quickly, people get high, and a lot of times it's an uncomfortable feeling.
Yep.
And so it turns them off. So you have to start low and you go slow. And I say right out, I don't think cannabis cures anything.
Yeah.
Now, there are some people that feel it does in certain quantities.
Cures it with chronic use.
Yes.
Does that count?
No.
As far as my head injury, as long as I use it every day, it's gone. As far as the mood control and those kind of things, that's what I'm saying. If I'm using it, it's doing what it's supposed to do, and I'm functioning as planned. So,
Yeah.
chronic use.
But if
Yeah.
you stopped using it, it would go
Like-
back.
But I don't want to fuck around and find out on that one.
Well, like blood pressure, you got to take something all the time.
Yep.
Right.
And if you have a chronic condition, you should be taking, I think, cannabis on somewhat of a regular basis to keep the benefits going.
Again, you're just delaying. There is no cure because we're all going to die.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
but-
if it cured things, you'd use it once and you'd never have to use it again.
Right.
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 How do I make money on that?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I've been told that it helps with PTSD, but it does not cure PTSD.
Right.
So
See, and I would disagree with that in a sense because in 2018 I had PTSD pretty badly.
Yep.
And I had to move into an apartment by myself, and that was one thing I was fearful of is like someone broke into my house when I was a kid, and that has always been a trigger for me, just being at home at nighttime by myself.
Yep.
But I was using CBD every single day. I don't use CBD as often anymore unless I'm using hemp products. And I have come to realize that I do not have the same triggers as I had before. Same thing with like physical pain, where some people will say you know how you lost weight when you started using cannabis?
Yep.
Some people will use cannabis and find that they're exercising more, and it makes the pain that they were feeling because they were due to like low
Right.
activity go away. So it may not cure it on its own, but there are things
In
that I think-
association with, in conjunction
I
with.
do think that it may not be a cure-all, but I do think that it has the potential to cure some things with additional treatments.
no, I agree with you. Like with my PTSD from being on an ambulance, like I would tell my wife, like I felt like it was rewiring my brain every time I smoked weed. But when I say that it doesn't cure it, I haven't stopped smoking, so I don't know.
Right?
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
cured with chronic use. Because you're delaying the effect until you die. So technically,
we're
if you use it
arguing
until
over
the day you
schematics
die,
here.
if you use it until the day you die, you have fixed it and you've cured it. You found the cure, right? Treating it with this is the cure. I'm cured.
It depends on how you define cure.
Right.
That's fair.
You know.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I got him there. But anyway, back to the good doctor. Do you remember your first time?
Yes, I was 16, I was with two of my other friends. We were out in the country, and we tried probably just ditch weed.
Yeah.
Is what I meant. So I didn't feel anything at
No,
all.
didn't
And then
feel
after
nothing.
that, I don't know how it progressed. Peer pressure.
Yeah.
It's always peer pressure, you know.
Right,
pressure.
right.
So, and then the University of Iowa, of course.
It's
know,
everywhere. It's pretty
everywhere,
rampant. Yeah. Hey, it's college.
And better stuff too.
Right. Better than what you can get at the local Iowa
Back
City
in the day, it was
dispensary.
probably 5% back then. You know, 5%.
Yeah. All right.
Do you think that makes a big difference? The THC percentage, like they talk about the. I know it makes a difference, but like, do you think it's as big a deal as what they talk about?
Oh, I think it probably is.
Do you think so?
But everybody's built up such a tolerance because they have so much THC, though, that...
That's what I said. It's so unique to everybody because one, your physical makeup, and then your tolerance, and then how you inhaled it, the quantity you inhaled. You know, did you microdose? You know, there's so many variances, and it's really hard to measure. Is that why people don't study it? You know, I know that was part of the reason why it's been illegal for so long. We don't know so much about it. It's because it's illegal, you can't test it, and the people that can is the government was, but only on their weed. And we know how variable it is in so many plants. They're missing out on so many. But where was I going with that one? But I was trying to figure out.
I'll cut in. 'Cause
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to say, one reason why they don't test it, in my personal opinion, is because without having illnesses and sicknesses, you don't make a profit. And a lot of the patients that we have seen have either changed the traditional medicines that they use or they don't use them at all anymore.
Yeah.
So the government, in my opinion, has the legality to change the rules and to research it. But the more that they find out about it, the more that they have to tell the public. And it's kind of like one of those hidden secrets. They don't want us to know because
I mean,
then-
that's my feeling. Is they don't know how to make money off it, so they don't want us to know until they figure out how to control it, so they can make a profit off of it, which they are with their taxes. Which I don't know why they wouldn't just start there.
I just think that they make a lot more off of big pharma. I really do.
Yeah.
I think that
And
keeping it
they're
legal-
shutting them down.
Yeah, keeping it illegal just changes the entire governmental structure. You know, you have lobbyists that are out there trying to criminalize cannabis. Even with this new bill that's going on with hemp, they're using it, saying that it's in the best interest of patients because they won't be able to go buy gas station cannabis, but they also won't be able to go into like a health store and buy like certain products anymore, either
Right.
like tinctures and things. So it's not necessarily always about helping the patients, even though it's disguised as
I
that.
understand it needs to be regulated because, again, they can make whatever at those gas station places and sell whatever, and nobody's controlling it. So that I understand. It's hard enough to control, you know, selling it to people under the age of 21 because, hey, my brother's older, he buys it for me, whatever. But back to the doctor. What were we talking about on that?
Well, we were talking about why don't they study it?
yeah.
And my feeling, they are studying it.
They
They're
are
doing
now,
lots
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
studies. But the way you study something is you got to break it down into the most elemental parts and study that. You know, and cannabis has all kinds of like 100 different cannabinoids and terpenes and stuff. And so the way science would approach that is identify each terpene and figure out how it interacts with the cannabinoid receptors and say whether it stimulates them or inhibits them or has no effect on it at all. Well, and then you've got times 100,
Well,
and
and
then
I
you
get-
put them all together, and each different combination and permutation, it's just so complicated.
So this is what I get. I start to ask technology questions, and I don't know how familiar you are. So if somebody were to say take the genetic code of the seed, how far out can they predict it? Well, that only under certain conditions in their growth.
Yeah.
So then once you take the flour and you're breaking it down to oil, and you get that compound that's working for somebody, I would imagine they should be able to run it in a test and simulate it through a computer with, you know, how many different calculations and types and various
Yeah.
people and whatever, those the macro computing or whatever they call it. But
It's complicated.
yeah, absolutely. It's infinite.
Terribly.
So that's why it would take
Yeah.
some kind of computer assisted to be able to run the research, well, for any of us to have any effect. So
Well, and then the studies that they do, you know, are probably not so well designed because so much is unknown about cannabis.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And you know, you hear a lot about like CBN and CBD
I mean,
and
I'm
all
confused every time I go to the dispensary half the time, but
Well, and then everybody says, well, you use CBN for sleep and CBD for this or that. And, you know, my feeling is that that nobody knows enough to even say that.
Right.
Really.
Right.
Just because it's so complicated.
Well, and yeah, so
and,
it's-
and, you
it's
know,
so
once you
different to
get all
everybody.
these 100 different cannabinoids and terpenes all figured out and how they interact with all the receptors, then they don't even know what the cannabinoid system even does to us. It obviously changes somehow, but nobody really knows how or what it does.
Yeah, how you
so that
measure what
we
it does to
feel
the brain.
The benefits that we do feel,
Right.
you know. So, oh my gosh, it's complicated.
No, that makes sense. That
But
makes
they're starting to implant, computer pieces and chips into brains and stuff. And I know they were able to put a computer chip and help people see. You know, it's crazy sending I don't know if it's like a contact lens or something that can send the vision to the signal or whatever. How it was working, or glasses would send a vision to the brain, and people are starting to see with it. It's crazy that they're doing with implants. So I don't know, how they can start to combine all this together. But gosh, I'm going somewhere. How much weed did I smoke?
So when, out of curiosity, when did you go to Iowa?
Well, I did undergraduate in Iowa. Started in 74.
74.
And graduated medical school in 83.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was in Iowa City for 9 years.
You were there quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All
Hated
right.
to leave, actually. I like
Yeah.
it's
you
a
saw
nice
some
place.
Really crappy football.
Yes.
And then
yes.
you saw some really good football
Yeah.
at the end.
The first year they had, or second year they had Bob Cummings, who I think was a Ohio football coach out of, high school football coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
And-
grandparents would tell me they used to donate, big donors back then, and go to all the games and all that stuff. And Grandpa would tell me about the whole stadium would cheer for a first down during the Cummins era. So
Yeah, those were the dark years.
bet.
Yeah. And then Hayden Fry came, and then it's been,
that's all I've ever known is Hayden Fry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You're blessed, apparently. You're blessed.
I'm very lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah.
But so the general feeling towards cannabis in the mid 70s in Iowa City was positive.
Not
That
of my
might- that might
authority.
be a
yeah,
stretch.
for the students it was.
Okay.
You know.
Nobody looked down upon you for smoking
No,
weed.
no.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
it was
stoners.
pretty accepted then.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So
And it was at all the parties and everywhere
Right.
too.
okay.
You feel there's more segregation now between drinkers and feeds?
No.
All right.
I just was curious. And then as compared to so in the 70s when you were smoking weed in Iowa City, and going to school, and then you got out of medical school, was there a feeling did people know that you were a cannabis user then? Did you tell people? Did you talk about it?
Have you been open
Did
your whole life about a
did you
cannabis
talk
use?
No.
to did you
No.
No?
I guess what I'm getting at is
So
this
you're open about it in college, and then when did you start hiding it?
Oh, when I was in residency training.
residency,
Well,
okay.
in medical school too, you know.
But you still smoked?
yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Is that
think
what
I
you were
hit it
heading
pretty
at?
well.
Is that where you're headed?
Yeah, I just was.
Yeah. That's a curious question, because
Yeah,
we're newer stoners.
Well, yeah, my whole life, like I grew up I went to high school in the 90s, and weed was, the most awful thing in the world. And so it's been a big change to go from that to how I am now. And so I'm always curious when I talk to people who are older stoners.
Generationally,
Yeah, like what
how's
was it? What was it like back then? How was it accepted? How, you know what I mean? Like how people felt about it.
Yeah, 74, I wasn't born yet, so.
I guess I wasn't either. But anyway.
Right.
So
things that we don't know.
right. So have you ever tried to do any studies on your own?
No,
No.
no, just my own personal experience. Which,
Okay.
like you had mentioned earlier, everybody's experience is different.
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So I guess, so let's describe that. So Renee sets up the appointment, comes in to see you for, obviously you can't share medical records, but I can share based on my experience. You go, you review, you ask questions like, what brings you in here today? Why are you curious? What can we help you with, kind of thing. And I got the brain injury and then the chronic back pain, and then at the time of the tennis elbow, which is getting better, but I think it's because I make the kid do more of the shit that hurts the elbows. But anyway, so it's very open, honest discussion with, hey, this is what's going on, and your recommendation. I feel cannabis can help, or what, I really don't think. But luckily, you're the medical doctor. You can kind of give them advice on both. Now, so is there have been a case where somebody comes in seeking medical cannabis where you're like, I really don't think it's going to help your condition, and they go away? I'm just out of curiosity.
There has been, and some people, I suggest that rather than get certified, try it out at the recreational first.
Yeah,
just
and you
to
don't
see
see
if
him
it-
again.
Yeah, and don't see him so much again. And then if it does work for them, then to come back, because it does cost money. The clinic
Yeah.
fee is $150 to $200, and then the state fee, and it does add up.
Yeah, there's some fees, and initially I was like, well, if I'm going this often, that
if you're
30% helps me
If you're
every
going
time
to
I
use it
go.
as a medication,
Yeah.
it's well worth
Yeah,
it.
it's basically a discount insurance card, essentially.
I think that if you go to the dispensary at least monthly, it's worth your while to be certified. It would pay for itself.
Yeah.
Plus, you have the option of growing your own,
Right.
which would be the most cost-effective approach.
Right.
Which he grows at home. He's got a tent. He bought a bigger tent, and he hasn't started it yet. But he used to post pictures on our social media, like what he's doing, what he's growing, and now because he's so busy, he works too hard. But he doesn't post anymore, so one, people don't know what you're doing. Two, I don't even think you're growing right now.
But that's but that's what cannabis does for me. It allows me to have all these different careers and work all this, and
But as far as our show, it doesn't give us social media
no, that is
content.
true. But they talk about stoners being lazy. Well,
No, he's not lazy.
I don't think
I don't consider myself lazy either.
I don't think I fit that. bill.
Some days I feel lazy. I don't feel like doing that. But that's like in the moment for that 2 hours or something. I'm not going to do shit. But
Right. So have you ever, so when people come back, so when I came in, when I first got my cannabis license in Illinois, I actually came to your clinic, and it was the doctor before, like we were talking about. And he took some blood tests to check for inflammation and stuff like that. Do you guys do blood tests anymore?
No. In the beginning, they were pretty strict about the program.
Uh-huh.
And
they're skeptical. They don't want anything bad to happen.
Yeah. And they could audit your charts, and you had to follow certain rules, and you had to see them 2 times. And
Said it was a lot more relaxed on the second visit, but I thought that was because it was a renewal, not necessarily because.
well, you had background checks and fingerprinting. It was quite an ordeal.
Yeah.
But the state has kind of relaxed some of their requirements because they realized that the society wasn't going to fall apart because cannabis was available.
Imagine that.
Right.
So that was a fear. I think that it would just get out of control and be the end of civilization.
So now
as
you're
we
just
know it.
reviewing it to people. You're just making sure to keep things legit. That you have a medical reason to use it. Not somebody just trying to cheat the system and save money. All right.
Well, my point was I, when I lost on my weight, and then I had back surgery and I had a fusion in my lower back in 2000, I went back to my medical doctor, and he did blood work and all that, and he said, I don't know what you're doing, but all of your blood work is off the charts better than what it has ever been. And so I told him, it was from the cannabis that I was smoking and I was eating and all that. And he said, well, don't ever stop.
Yeah.
And so I just
Okay.
it turns out he was he used to be an Army medic, jumping out of helicopters, and then he went to medical school after that. So he has a lot of the same back issues that I have from that type of deal, and he sees the benefit of the inflammation reduction and
Sure.
stuff. So that's what I was getting at with the blood test. That I didn't know if you repeated stuff like that. Just curious if saw the markers improve, things like that.
Well, all we do at the clinic is just certify for medical cannabis, and I only address cannabis-related issues, because everybody well, for one thing, my malpractice is only for that, and so.
Okay.
If they want to see you medically, they got to see you at your other clinic. In
Yeah,
Morrison.
but I've retired from there.
But you're retired, so you're out of luck.
But I give people sometimes my opinion about things, but for the most part, most of them need to follow up with their regular physician for their other health care, and I
Right.
only do the cannabis
Right.
suggestions and questions.
But you at least people can feel comfortable because you have the medical background. Have you ever seen anybody allergic to weed?
I had one lady came to the clinic one time because of some certifiable diagnoses. She wanted to get on cannabis, but she had a prior allergic reaction to cannabis.
Okay.
And it was an anaphylactic reaction, which is a life-threatening
Right,
reaction.
Yeah, don't do that.
And I said to her, it's
not worth the risk to try it again.
It's not worth the risk. Yeah. So I discouraged her from doing, and we didn't certify.
But it's not
her,
like
of
you're
course.
confident or tested or anything that we know is specifically related to cannabis. Just if it is, it's not worth the risk for her.
Oh,
Wouldn't that
yeah.
be awful? Be allergic to cannabis.
But otherwise,
like that?
any medical downsides that the typical medically, what would people? I mean, obviously, we've talked about anytime you're smoking anything into your lungs, obviously,
Yeah.
but edibles obviously is safer or better. But any long-term effects or anything we should be worried about?
Not that I'm aware of. Every so often you read a headline that cannabis will give you heart attacks. It's not good for you. And then, some days you read articles that say cannabis is good for you in
Yeah, I know.
any number of ways,
That's why I don't trust anything I read online because everybody's got an opinion one way, and they'll find the facts and evidence they need to prove their point, regardless, unless. So everything's up for debate. Again, it's so unique and varied by person anyway, but I'm just trying to, overall, in general, to make people feel comfortable smoking cannabis. The negative effects, one, the most common is a paranoia.
Yes. Well, I don't know if that's the most common,
Well,
but
one of.
that's one of.
What would
yes.
you say is the most common
Yeah.
negative effect?
I think anxiety,
Okay.
which paranoia.
Yeah, paranoia, anxiety,
Yeah.
which people take it to treat that. And so I think that anxiety is somewhat of an education level, not being aware going into it. But what we've discovered is I think it's also a personality type. So if you're prone to it, the cannabis might amplify your own personal
Yeah.
behavior. So if you're already prone to anxiety and stress, sometimes it might, if you're not familiar with cannabis, it might trigger that a little bit. Do you think?
I
But
agree.
people treat it for anxiety. I mean, it helps me.
And I think the situation you're in, if you're under a lot of stress or anxiety, I think you're probably more than likely going to have maybe anxiety increase by using
Well, like
cannabis.
we were saying, if you're nervous going into it, when you take it, oh God, what's going to happen? Then it's just going to make you paranoid
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire time and ruin the experience.
Well, but also, like we were talking about earlier, if I smoke too much sativa, I kind of get anxious myself. And so if you're not educated going to the dispensary to pick out something to buy, and you buy a bunch of sativa and you smoke too much sativa and all of a sudden you're anxious,
But I smoke weed every day, and I think it slows it down for me. Again, I think it affects people
Yeah,
differently.
but not everybody's like us.
No, but an indica puts me to sleep. Sativa helps me focus.
For the anxiety part too, I think your environment matters.
Yes.
Because being in Iowa, I feel a lot more anxious using cannabis than I ever did when I lived in Portland or Illinois. I think that the circumstances surrounding what's going on or
Because
who you're
of the
with-
stigma, or
I think just because the rules are different there, and I think that being paranoid sometimes has an impact on like past experiences. Like you get a cop behind you, you're scared that they're going to pull you over. Even
Yeah.
sometimes in Illinois, just because it has been illegal for so long that now sometimes your body just kind of goes back to like
Right.
past traumas or past like
For
scares.
sure.
So
Yeah, I can see
environment is
that.
a big one in my opinion for the whole fear thing.
Yep, I can see that. That makes complete sense.
And I think you talked about downsides of cannabis,
Yeah.
the effects of the smoke on your lungs, probably not the best, but you have to weigh for yourself the benefits that you get from it versus the risk of the smoking.
well, I feel I have a mucus problem, and I feel the cannabis adds to it, but it's a side effect I'm willing to deal with versus
Yeah.
the benefits I'm getting. So.
So
you
you have to decide for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think cannabis smoke is different than tobacco smoke?
Oh, I think it is. Yeah.
I mean, they say the carcinogens, and do they add things to tobacco before they make cigarettes?
Well, I don't know. I don't smoke cigarettes.
I was 18 the last time I went through the R.J. Reynolds factory, but they dry up the leaves and the leaves, and they blow it through a tube across the thing. They stuff them in there, and I don't think they're getting treated with anything. So what's different about the tobacco plant inhaling
Well, I
versus
just was
the
curious. I
cannabis
didn't
plant?
know.
Well, medically,
Well,
it's
I
like
guess
this
you don't
dude-
probably smoke as many.
No, yeah.
You don't smoke as much.
Smoke a pack of
Is that
cannabis
why?
a day.
That makes sense.
True.
Well, speak for yourself.
Well, the packs are smaller. So.
Also, they add ingredients to cigarettes, so
To make
a
them
lot of-
addictive.
like when we grow,
Yep.
we're using just the plant,
Right.
And we might have like some kind of nutrients or something included to it, water, but it's way
Because it doesn't
different.
need help. It's all good by itself.
Right, it doesn't need anything, so that's a big difference too. When you get a pack of cigarettes from like Marlboro or Newports, even the menthol, that's all changing the chemistry with the plant, and that's
I do like
making it
menthols,
so
though.
you're gonna have a different reaction illness.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say personally, as somebody that smoked cigarettes for a long time, smoking cannabis is a lot better on my lungs.
Right on. All right. So, doctor, tea breaks. What do you know about tea breaks? I mean, are they effective? How long does it take? As far as the tolerance break, do you think? Because my cousin, who he was in motorcycle, he's been smoking since high school too, but he's a chronic user. I said something to a tea break. He's like, "Why?" So why would you stop? If it's helping me every day, why stop? But do you think taking a tea break is worth it? For one, I think it'll clean out my lungs or something, help with that. But as far as the tolerance level, is it going to truly adjust? Will it reset and feel like closer to the first time?
I do think that heavy cannabis use, you build up a tolerance to that. And by cutting back or cutting down, I do think that you can regain or reduce some of the tolerance to the cannabis.
For what I've looked online, I mean, I think it takes like a month or less for most of the things to be out of your system and not even be able to tell that you smoked cannabis. So the negative effect, if you can, clean out, if you smoked it, clean out your lungs. So you can be out from under cannabis if you're worried about it within 30 days. Like, nobody even knew you smoked it. No effect on your body long term, to our knowledge today.
Probably right, but maybe even longer than that because,
Totally, yeah.
the tolerance is due to receptors in your neurons getting upgraded or downgraded or whatever. And so I think some of those effects last a lot or takes a lot longer to get back to normal, so to speak.
Sure.
The benefits would be that you would be less tolerant and smaller amounts would give the same effect. But eventually you'd kind of build it up again, your tolerance. And
Well, I mean,
so a tea break, I don't know health-wise if it would, other than clearing your lungs
Right.
out a little bit, if it would do too much for you, unless you were having some side
you don't think
effects.
it would affect my daily function use of weed? It's not going to change my experience much or reset it. Like for me, I think I jumped into it too fast. Like you said, overdoing, like smoking bowls before I was ready for them. You know what I'm saying? And then so once you start doing that, then you're going up from there. So now I'm getting closer to dabs. But if I took a 30-day tolerance break or 60-day, would I be able to go back to taking one-hitters and feeling, I'm doing pretty good?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for sure.
Well, financially, that might be worth it.
Yeah. Do you think smoking CBD would help with the tea break? Would speed up the process? Do you think?
I think it would help satisfy some of the psychological aspects of smoking without getting the THC.
Okay.
Because if you smoke CBD, you're still getting some of the cannabinoid effects, but depending on that level of THC, yes. If you are decreasing the amount of THC that you smoke every day, then yeah, your tolerance is going to be little to none until you start incorporating that back into your life. And there's
Well, what I mean is like, sorry. And what I meant was like, do you think, so Monday I'm going to stop smoking weed, THC, I'm going to take a tea break for 2 weeks. Do you think that then switching to smoking CBD would speed up the tolerance break?
So I think that it would still be the same amount of time as if you took 2 weeks off, but you would still be able to smoke in that time frame. So people that still need to like use medicine or they just want to smoke because they enjoy it, I feel that it lessens the tolerance break want to smoke, because a lot of people don't take tolerance breaks because they are so used to just smoking constantly.
Okay.
And so I think that it helps ease that, but I don't think that it's going to be just because you smoke CBD in 1 week. When you smoke THC in another week, it's not going to completely like minimize those effects. But if you did like for 2 weeks, time is what's going to minimize it.
I got you.
Not any other cannabinoid.
It's just helping with the
urge to want to smoke and use cannabis without using THC cannabis.
But I've also heard some people will, because your body takes it in differently versus smoking versus edibles, that they'll take a smoking break and go to edibles for a few weeks and then go back to smoking. And basically you're resetting your receptors for the edible process through your stomach and your liver or whatever, how it goes in your body versus, right through the lungs.
I've heard that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that that's possible. That if you want to change the intake methods, that it can also change the way that you like perceive or receive cannabis and the way
who
that you
wants
feel
to do
about
that?
it.
That's why I take an edible at night. It's
I
like-
still take both. I take an edible and then smoke up, so I'm good
Right,
for a while.
right.
But it's about the convenience for me. But Mark, you've been smoking all your life. We talked about your first time. So your method of choice.
Actually, it's flour. Microdosing with like a one hitter, and I usually make my one hitter last 3 hits. And then so it's a one and done, and then maybe a couple 3 times a day. But I've
Truly
been
is
kind
micro.
of switching because I'm getting up there,
Right.
and it makes me cough, and so I'm kind of transitioning more to edibles.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, 5 milligrams of a sativa in the day and 10 of indica at night.
So we
Not
talked
every
about
day.
you said about 30 60 days after a tea break. Medically, you think your body would have recovered and reset essentially. How long from tobacco do you think, if somebody were to stop, how long would it take for your body to reset and recoup whatever damage you've done from tobacco?
Oh, I'd say a year,
A year.
a good year. 'Cause
Solid, healthy living, running,
yeah.
flushing your body with water.
I think that the harmful effects are so great that it just takes that long for your body to.
The nicotine
That
does
makes
does different things to you versus the THC cannabis. Obviously, we know that the endocannabinoid system is in your body already, and you're smoking cannabis, so they clearly work hand in hand. I like to joke that it was in the Garden of Eden. It's here for a purpose. That's why it's so unique for each person. Find the right strain for you, and it helps you function in everyday life. And that's the whole point of our show, is just to educate people the medical benefits for everyday living on cannabis. Don't be afraid of it. Fuck around to find out. Try what works for you, little at a time, slow and go.
Start low and go slow.
Absolutely.
You know, we have this endocannabinoid system, and it's interesting that the chemical that stimulates that system or interacts with it looks nothing like the THC molecule at all.
Really?
Nothing. Completely different. And so
But
it's
they
interesting.
pair, or it
Well,
treats it.
the
Maybe
T-
it's
The cannabinoids interact with the same receptors, but from a
I'm going to
completely
say it's a
different.
yin yang kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's the opposite effect. It's a yin yang. It helps complete it and gives it what it's missing.
So it's interesting. And again, the receptors get stimulated or inhibited or no effect, and you multiply that by 100. Oh, it's complicated.
Now, I know you haven't listened to some of our previous episodes, but we talked to the trauma translator who's smoking weed to treat his chronic leg pain. And then we talked to the
Phantom nerve pain.
phantom nerve pain. Sorry, what did I say?
I don't remember.
Okay, phantom nerve pain. But then we talked to Hang Fire Genetics that genetically bred the strain specifically that helps his phantom nerve pain. So that helps him. But how individual it is, medically speaking, what can be done or what's the easiest way for people to be able to go through that process? I know we'll fuck around and find out and try, but as far as the endocannabinoid system, are we focusing on certain terpenes to, affect certain areas, obviously, but how do people figure that out? What's the easiest way?
Boy, that's a
tough question.
The hugest question. Yeah. Just because I think
Trial and error is the best.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
I think
because the downside is so minimal. Why not
Yeah.
try and error? I got you.
everybody is affected differently, such that you just have to start low and go slow yourself and see. And like Renee had said earlier, keep a diary of
That's
what
a good
you
idea.
use.
Yeah, I need to start doing it.
Indica hybrids, it's complicated.
Now, I just kind of try and remember certain names of strains, like Durban Diesel. Oh, yeah, I know I like that one. Or this one. Oh, and I do love the names. The names fuck with me. I like the names. But once I know a strain or a line, I guess it's a genetic, it's like following a family.
Right.
If you're familiar with Game of Thrones, like, ooh, I'm a Targaryen fan or whatever, Targaryen. It's like,
I don't follow that.
I know you don't. You don't watch
I don't
that
have
shit.
time to watch TV.
But anyway, you know a bloodline essentially that you like or you enjoy that works with you. So maybe it goes back that far genetically from the Adam and Eve. You're like, you're born, your genetic code, we're so different, but all these plants, and maybe I'm too high for this conversation, but they all come through, and finding the one that's specific to your genetic code that helps you the best. Are we just spending our life trying to find we're all here for a reason, trying to find your soulmate? So I'm trying to find my soulmate in my cannabis plant.
Well, the thing about that is that the way that I grow and the way that you grow may be differently. So even if we have the same strain, we could grow plants to be completely different, just like children, how we were speaking earlier.
Right.
Because the environment that I have versus the environment you have, the things that you add to the plant versus the thing that I add to the plant, and the way that I grow the plant might be different than the way that you grow the plant. So that's not always a good determination.
All right, so how
of
much
if the
different
plant
is
gonna
it though? Because you're talking about bloodlines and the environment it was created in. So if we're going to compare kids, I mean, not getting political, but Trump is a bloodline essentially, and then put him in those conditions where give him anything he wants and never ask for everything and money. Had he been raised in a different environment, he'd be a completely different person.
Correct, and that's why I don't think that that's a good determination just because it's the same strain name, because if you have two different environments and two different growers, you may not get the same plant at all.
But you don't think if my bloodline going back to Adam and Eve and how we descended or whatever, if I find the plant that marries up with that bloodline, you don't think that's going to...
No, because let's use Trump. If Ivanka was somebody that lived in Fulton, Illinois, on a river house, she would be different. She would be different regardless of whether she has the same bloodline or not.
Personality would be different, but her blood's still the same.
Right, but the way that she acts and the way that she is would be different.
And would have a different effect on the people near her and around her.
Right,
All
she would have a different impact on the people around her, and that's the whole goal.
Way to put that. Way to bring that.
Yeah.
Nice job, Renee. Man, you got to go road tripping with Renee and get good shit like that right there. Road trip with Renee.
Nature nurture.
Yes.
It's a controversy that goes
And your belief?
continues.
Your belief?
I think it's more nature. I think we're genetically programmed to do, even our behaviors, I think, are genetically programmed to a big extent.
I agree.
And our emotions and everything. And then our environment, of course, modifies that.
I'm going to say it's a puzzle. You're born, here's all the pieces right here in your body, and then it's up to life to put you together however it goes. So you have the potential there at birth to be whatever. But given the environment you are, those puzzles get put together all fucked up.
Well, identical twins that were separated at birth, when they reconnect or whatever, they're so similar in everything.
There's a genetic code.
Oh, huge.
I agree.
So,
But the same thing can be said for identical twins that live in the same household that are different.
yes.
While they may have the same biological effects, they can have different personalities and the way that they impact the environment around them. So I don't know. I think it's more nurture than nature, but I'm not going to argue with the doctor.
All right.
I don't have the answer for that.
Well, both affected clearly, and it's a combination of the two.
Yes.
Maybe a yin yang makes the whole person. So then, I
What?
think I had this thought the other day: chicken or the egg, which came first? So if I was using that as people, chicken or the egg, you have a
chicken did
seed
because
and a
they came from
flower.
Dinosaurs.
The seed and the flower essentially are the flower is the egg, and then you got the seed and the chicken, which came first. The flower or the seed? The seed was here?
I don't know.
No, the seed had to be planted.
Right, the seed was planted, so is that the chicken? But we don't know until it grows up. It could go either way. Right? You have to get it to... I'm too high for this.
Too deep for me.
As we're talking about the growing process, you said you have to wait we were talking about as you're growing, you have to wait for the best ones. You pick out the best ones of the bloodline. But not only that, you're also determining the sex because you want to raise the females and not the males.
Correct.
You want to raise the females to flower so you can get the flower that we smoke. And the males are just there to pollinate and make new strains and new breeds. Because that's all we want to do is plant our seed and move on. But
I think sticking with the same variety or the same strain, I think they generally speaking act the same. However, I think that certain ways of growing them and certain people growing them or certain companies environments will do a better job or a worse job and make certain traits be more dominant than they
you could say the same thing about the world. Look at kids growing in Russia and their environment and their structure and America, whatever. That's basically what we're doing. But not everybody smokes cannabis.
Right. So basically, you're both right.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think that's a completely fair point.
I like to smoke Closet Gremlin from Revolution. No, I'm not paid by them. I'm not plugging them. I just like it. It's just like the way it makes me feel. But some harvests are better than others over the last couple of years. I'm sure they have different people taking care of them that some do a better job than others. So it's. But
I got to start keeping a diary.
I don't keep a diary, but
You should.
I probably
because we'd know, and then you can narrow down to the specific. Because all right, so how often do you go to the dispensary and pack all those joints? Often, every week, different strains all the time, or always the same one?
I stick with the same general strains.
Right, because that's what works best for you.
Yeah,
So why wouldn't you grow that at home?
because I can't get those strains because they're owned by Revolution.
All right, but plus it's consistent, and they're only going to sell you good stuff, and you don't have to do all the work, obviously.
Right.
But
And prices are finally coming down a little bit.
To be fair, you could find the parent, though, of that strain and then try to grow something similar to that, because that's what I did.
Yeah, but that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but
I'm a lazy stoner, lady. Come on now.
you're not lazy. We talk about hard work. See, you got mad at me when I said it. We know how hard you work, so don't call yourself lazy. You're lazy in some tests because you run out of time in the day. There's only so many hours in a day. You know that.
You're telling me. So,
doctor, where were
We all
with
work
the-
hard at what we like to do.
Right, that's what you're passionate
And,
about.
yeah.
I was undeclared in college because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I found broadcasting. I was like, I like that, and it took me 30 years
to finally get back into broadcasting.
Yeah, to finally do something
Sort of.
related to broadcasting. So, and we are recording podcasts, educating the world about cannabis and the use of cannabis. And we found no downside, according to our medical doctor, Mark Woods from Star Flower Clinic.
Well, disclaimer. Yeah.
To each their own. Fuck
Yeah.
around and find out. But the limited downside, limited effect,
Yeah.
negative effects. No long term. You could have it cleared out of your system, essentially within a couple of months. If you're worried about what you smoke it once, oh shit, don't smoke it for 60 days. Nobody would ever know you even smoked weed.
Although, there are some safety concerns if a person is pretty high. You don't want to go driving or doing activity
Right.
that could hurt yourself.
And-
So
and that's why-
kind of that
yeah.
is a downside, but I think it goes without saying that people just assume that. So
All right,
you have
so,
to just be careful about
how
it.
close are we? Because that's where I struggle with. People want to compare it to alcohol. Clearly different. Clearly affects you differently, especially the more you use. If I smoke too much weed, I'm going to take a nap. I'm not going anywhere. I drink too much alcohol. I'm getting in my car because I'm King Kong and I'm going wherever I want, 90 miles an hour, because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Oh, I think alcohol is much
So
worse.
why can't we have a weed bar where I can go in and see all the flower up on the wall like a draft beer? It's like, I want to try that strain, or I want to try that strain. Roll me a joint right here in front of me at this bar, and I want to smoke it publicly around my. You want to smoke it casually, a cigarette in front of people. Why not have a bar where I can do that and watch sports?
they do have it some places. They have cannabis cafes in Illinois. It's just actually, I don't know if you guys have heard, but NTI is actually going to be building a building on the wetlands out in Rock Island. It was like a huge controversy because
Oh, no, that's them?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
So,
I
yeah.
was pissed off they're taking the wetlands.
Yeah,
I
it
think it's
doesn't make any
bullshit.
sense. There's the problem is that Rock Island is so desolate, so abandoned. It used to be such a vibrant place.
Well, then tear some shit down.
Not even tear it down. Use where the daiquiri
Oh, yeah, there
factory
you go.
is. You know, it's like
Don't go
they
to the
have.
wetlands.
They
Go to
have.
wetlands
Yeah,
for
they
a
have.
reason.
Being in downtown would be beneficial for our tourism. It would be beneficial for people just being able to get there, and it wouldn't affect the animals in any way.
Make the
So-
district of Rock Island the weed district of the
Yes,
Quad Cities.
that would be. It would be phenomenal, but they're not doing that. They're going to build in the wetlands out in the middle by Jumers, which doesn't make any sense at all to me. But they are planning on having a cannabis cafe there too. The thing is, though, is that should we support a business that is allowing to tear down animal habitats when we already do that so often as it is? So, but they do have cannabis cafes in Illinois.
Well, now you're conflicting me because one of the people we haven't talked to yet, because we talked to Jeff Sankson from Fulton Dispenser. We've talked to Revolution, Rev Canna,
Devin.
our buddy Devin, took him fishing with us, and then you're going to go. You're
Oh,
going to
I like
ice
Devin.
fishing with. Yeah.
You know Devin?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
Devin's
Cool
great.
as shit, isn't he?
Yeah, he is cool.
And I've been
He used
to
to work
I've
at
been to
ATI.
I've been to
Yeah.
Terrace a few
Yes.
times. I'm not a fan of.
Oh, I
Terrace.
like Terrace. Terrace
All
is
right.
good.
It's a different vibe. I guess
is a different vibe.
medically, I don't get the same vibe. So when
They
I go
don't
there,
have medical. That's why.
right, and so it's more of a recreational first. So that I understand.
Yeah,
but
I
when I
wouldn't
go in
say
there, it's
that.
like it's not my vibe.
I think Terrace is a vaping type of place.
It's just recreational, and it's more just like over-the-counter cannabis, get in, get out. But they don't have like priority medical patients. One cool thing is if you have your medical card, you get to like skip the long line. They don't allow that though because they're only recreational. So
Well, the last time I went to Fulton, I don't know if you have you been to Fulton in a while.
Nope.
They cut down their hours on the medical side, but then they keep one person for medical people. Because I went there and it's like the door's locked, they're open. What the fuck? So then I went over to the recreational side and walked in, and I recognized the lady because she's usually on the medical side. She's like, "Oh, you're medical?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, well then I don't have to take a number and wait." And then as soon as the medical lady's available, just like you would over there, as soon as that medical person's available, they can take recreation when there's no medical people here. So
I got
it's
you.
like, all right. So they limited their hours, but I get that stuff. They let Just Joe go now. They don't have enough to go around. Like,
Right.
yeah.
But,
But NCI is the original medical dispensary in the Quad
well, and
Cities.
so that was my next stop because I did stop out there when I was looking for advertisers. And shoot, did I write down his name? Not up there. I got some names, some contact information. Somebody you can talk to that does all the promotion work for him because I thought they
Oh,
might
nice.
want to partner with us because I'm hoping somebody just wants to Dick and Dank brought to you by NTI or whatever.
Right.
Something like that, so we can just build a studio and record and have people just come in and have a place. Right now, the Kentucky Oasis is great as a startup, but
Have you been to one of those places?
What do you mean?
A weed bar or whatever you call it?
No, I've actually never been to a cannabis bar in this area.
But I
We're
mean
talking
anywhere. Because you do travel with Renee.
I don't actually think I have
Road trip.
been.
Road trip with Renee, sorry.
on YouTube.
No, I don't think I have actually.
Okay.
But I do agree with you though that they should be a lot more common. And I was actually hoping that Daiquiri Factory would turn into some kind of cannabis cafe just because of where it's located at, and because the district used to be so popular with like nightlife. I think that it would be a great place. Play darts and play pool and
Absolutely.
smoke
Why
and-
not?
When,
Just get some good vents.
When they first legalized cannabis cafes, though, one of the like IDPH ladies, she said that she was okay with them doing it, but she wanted each consumer to be in a phone booth. So like the ventilation system would like smoke it
Oh,
out,
man.
and so there wouldn't be that secondhand smoke because that's like a law in Illinois,
But-
which I thought was so just
As
bizarre.
I'm telling my son, who's now 17, he's like, back in my day, we used to have smoking sections, and we were born before there was even a smoking section. You could just smoke anywhere in the restaurant. You walked in the restaurant and it smells like an ashtray, and you just get used to it everywhere you go. Everybody's smoking all the time, everywhere, and then all of a sudden it's split in sections, and all of a sudden you can't smoke anywhere. You're a pariah. What the fuck is wrong with you? And he doesn't even know about that. Just like like when we grow up, drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. And then we find out cannabis is not a drug, fuckers. It's here with Adam and Eve here to heal us.
Well, it's still a drug. I mean, everything's a drug.
a medicine.
If you, anything
It's a
you
good
put,
drug.
It's a good drug. Yeah.
So do
If you use it right.
people consider cannabis homeopathic then? Because you're treating yourself with a plant or an herb essentially versus going to big pharma and seeing a doctor and getting a prescription. Now you prescribe the card, but you don't prescribe which cannabis I use because it's so infinite. So,
Good question.
all right. I do have them once in a while.
It's more of a recommendation.
Okay.
I would say homeopathic.
Yeah.
You're doing something to help yourself with.
You're treating at home with
natural
cannabis.
ingredients and stuff. So
all natural.
Homeopathic.
Yeah. Well, just like my bowl right here, it says doctor's orders. It's got a little prescription marijuana, Dr. Kush, 100% natural. So, again, what's the downside of cannabis skin? I forgot.
The lungs, and
But easily repaired.
Wow.
Right.
Stop smoke or edibles, then you're not affecting your lungs.
Yeah. And then when you're high, the safety effects.
I feel pretty safe when I'm high. Again,
But that's only if
where
you're
I
going to
feel
go
it is.
drive or something like that.
That's where I feel there's
or-
an education comes.
you know.
Well, our last episode,
Maybe don't swim and get real high.
Yeah.
Well, our last episode,
And I think if you
mentioned
combine
snow.
cannabis and alcohol, that kind of heightens the
there.
effects of either
Now that's
one.
what we warn people. Yes.
And then you could get into some issues with that.
Well,
Mainly because of the alcohol, probably more so than the cannabis.
Right. And we've said, alcohol has a time and a place or whatever. I enjoy alcohol. I like getting drunk. But when you mix them, I will smoke weed and then casually drink real slow and enjoy it. Probably like alcohol should be, casually drunk over time. But if I'm there just drinking and I'm not smoking weed, then it's drink after drink. I'm thirsty. Let's keep drinking. Now I'm drunk. But then you get drunk, you smoke weed, then it has an ill effect. But if you start with cannabis, in my experience, I think what we told people, cannabis first, have a casual drink. You drink slower. I do when I smoke weed. But if you're drunk first and then you try a weed, say, hey, look at this.
Right.
Might have a bad effect. But again, all I did was go comatose and just sit there and not move for a couple hours. And all right, I'm good. But cannabis, it's here to heal. The doctor approved. Smoking most of your life. So your method of choice was you prefer flower, rolling in joints.
One hitters.
Oh, that's right, one
Yeah.
hitters.
And little one hitters. And only
It's
one
a
half
little
of a one
Yeah, it
hitter
is
at
little,
a time. So
micro dosing.
Really,
and that's I
microdosing.
think was my point about the whole
He's like
thing.
smoking a leaf of a bud.
yeah. And so I figure in
Lasts
a
a long
week's
time.
time, I probably only smoke a cigarette's worth or less.
Probably.
So
And helps you function. So your reason
yeah.
for use then.
Yeah.
It just daily function and keeps you even keel, keeps you focused. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to tell people is fuck around and find out, as I say. But you have to try it one to figure out how it affects you. And then don't give up on it because some people, you tried it, it didn't do anything. You try it again, it's like, oh, now it affects them. Well, you tried a different strain. Try a different strain. Try this. Don't give up on it because you got to find the plant that's designed for you.
That's right.
And you listen to DICK&Dank.com. You can find out more and find the strain. Well, I don't know if we're going to help them find a strain, but at least we'll help you feel confident enough to try it, I hope, and learn from our mistakes. But, Doctor, you've been great today. I appreciate it. Is there anything you want to share for the cannabis community, as a medical doctor, a cannabis doctor, college graduate, U of I? Anything?
Hawks.
Go Hawks. Anything you want to share to whatever our listenership is, the cannabis community, about cannabis in general? Like any parting words, I guess, if you will.
I guess I would say that cannabis, I feel, is very safe, with those few exceptions that we
Right.
talked about.
Rarities.
And
Life's a gamble.
and it's complicated, and it affects both mind and body. And I think in the right amounts, go low and go slow, I think people will feel better because of it. And I think of cannabis not as a end-all or a cure-all, and I think you have to use cannabis along with other forms of medicine. Traditional medicine, you need to treat your blood pressure and your heart disease and your diabetes
Headache,
and
I can
stuff
take
too.
Excedrin, whatever.
And I think cannabis could fit right into that.
Yep.
And so it doesn't take the place of anything, but it kind of works in conjunction with a lot of other things just to optimize your health and well-being.
Right on.
I agree.
Right on. Well, we are DICK&Dank.com. Listen to us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud if you like. But we want you to subscribe to our website, find who our true Dick and Dank fans are. But you can follow me on Instagram, Mr. Dank5, Mr. Dank.5, Mr. Dank5. Sorry, Mr. Dank5. That is specific. There's other Mr. Danks. Go figure. But that's the one I check and kind of look at if you want to message me. Otherwise, you can email dank@DICK&Dank.com. If you'd like to be a guest, if you'd like to follow us or have more questions or just tell us to shut the fuck up. I don't know. But give us some feedback about what you think. But you can follow us on Instagram. Dick is at Dope Discussions _Dick. Follow us on Facebook, Blue Sky, X. Is there any parting words from you, Dick, that you want to share?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. It's been great. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Fantastic. Share the good word. But give weed as Christmas gift this year. It's so easy. Go to the dispensary and buy everybody on your list. Oh, sorry. I can't say that. All right. Well, I suggest you try it with them in the comfort of your own home when nobody else is around so they can get used to cannabis. But cannabis is great for everybody. But give it a try. Follow us, DICK&Dank.com.
Yeah, here we go. Good night.
Talking things and important facts, like what's next, give me gas. There's a place that you wanna go. The clientele is really slow. DICK&Dank.com, oh yeah. DICK&Dank.com, alright. DICK&Dank.com. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. DICK&Dank.com. DICK&Dank.com.
I think I'm officially a little dumber after listening to that. I was actually thinking that as soon as you said that. Perfect. Good times.
How good did that feel? Honestly. Discover your new favorite sound with Music by Ernie. Now streaming on SoundCloud. Fresh tracks, unique vibes, and music that moves you. Don't wait. Search Music by Ernie today on SoundCloud.